In my off-key
voice. What on earth is that?
It's my off-key voice.
Okay.
Yeah, it felt off-key, right? It felt off-key.
I didn't know what you were going for, so
Yeah.
I only had two notes. I couldn't put it all together.
Okay, fair. It was my off-key voice. It was my off-key voice. Anyways, hello everyone. It is time for the Thursday temperature check. This is the last temperature check before I go on vacation. I'm very excited. And I'm gonna try to not touch anything proposal related except for like the most minor of requests from Pi people. We'll see how that goes.
Pi people, okay. I was like, most minor requests from no, you're not doing any proposal work for 2 weeks.
No proposal work. Pi people, they're my people, Rachelle. They're the only people. Anyways, my name is Ben Klein. I'm the Chief Recipe Officer at Pi. And I run Geek Proposals. We are a proposal response firm. And I am somewhat contemplating an offer from my company. Anyways, to take employment. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, but with me today is Rachelle Ray. She is our Chief Bakers Officer. And also now the head of product marketing.
Head of AEC marketing innovation at Open Asset. One day Ben will get it and I'm gonna be shocked.
I'm gonna be shocked too.
I have to practice it like daily. I'm like, okay, what am I? I'm ahead of something.
We have Stephen in the audience. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So today it is that time of year again. It's time for the Loopio annual trends report. We have a love-hate relationship with it, but honestly, like as I grow older, I actually find myself just being affectionate toward it because no one else in the industry is really doing it. It is a great piece of information. It has a lot of bias in it, but like you can like correct for that and just kind of see where things are going. And gosh, love them that they're compiling this information, that they're doing it all the time. I really appreciate it. So there you go. There's my love affair with the Loopio Trends Report. But there's some interesting insights to pull out, and so let's get right into it. Unless we have housekeeping. Do we have any crazy housekeeping?
We do not have any crazy housekeeping.
Yeah, we don't have any crazy housekeeping. So let's do it. Let's do it. So I won't be able to see the screen, Rachelle. I'm going to trust in you to do.
Oh dear.
To do all the things. If you haven't downloaded the Trends Report, it's on Loopio's website. You have to sign up for their lead gen so that they can market to you. It's a small price to pay because you can always turn yourself off afterwards if you really need to. It goes without saying there's some bias, but what I really appreciate is that they kind of identify it, right? Like, hey, 2/3 of the respondents are in the States and Canada. And probably the majority of that is in the States, right? It is very few individuals coming from other countries. Like we can't assume that this really represents South African bids or Australia for that matter.
I know, poor Australia, only 1%, but
even Asia, I feel like that is what is that? That's 3/4 of the world's population in that continent there. Not quite that much. Like it's like 3/5 or something. And it's only a 3% showing with 23% in the UK. So there's some room for demographic improvement there. But I hear you. Like we in Pi also struggle to like get solid proposal data from other places. So an organization as large as Loopio, if they're having trouble, I am more forgiving of myself. They give you some interesting stats on who's responding and everything like that. They break it down mainly by position and stuff like that. So C-suite, vice president, directors, managers, leads, and then frontline proposal people. It is interesting that managers and leads are the largest single category of respondents. They don't represent the totality, but they are kind of the biggest people. So people responding to Loopio surveys are in leadership roles for the most part, right? Or they are in roles that have levels of responsibility. Yeah. Anyways, so with that in mind, lots to read here, and there's lots of stuff to go through. But they have their own highlights, which is that fewer bids were actually being responded to in the previous years, and yet teams still feel that they are responding to more bids. And they actually call this out as a data discrepancy, in that like the the teams that said they are responding to more bids, they effectively fell off the cliff this year. So there are certain industries, certain verticals, certain small companies that, like, last year was the death knell for them. Like they just lost out on all their bidding opportunities, and they have skewed the average of like less bids being responded to. When in fact, it does seem like more people are responding to higher numbers of bids. Like more than half of the respondents said that they're responding to more bids. So the work is getting more robust out there, Rachelle.
When I originally read like fewer proposals on average had been responded to, I was like, well, that's wrong because every single conversation I've had
Yep.
with people in the industry, like coming out of a conference where I talked to probably 100 people, the overwhelming consensus was, yeah, no, we did so much last year, and I would like to do less.
Yeah.
But I would like to point out, because Kathleen does draw a really important point here. For me in the AE, she says, for me in the AE industry, the Loopio questions are very difficult to map to our actual industry proposal processes. And I do struggle with that in the Loopio report as well, because uh, it's not it's not one to one. They did actually include construction this year by
Yeah.
industry. We were not in there last year, but AE isn't specifically defined either. So
Again, I'm super impressed because this is improving as well. Like, well done, Lupio. When they initially did this, it was like IT services and healthcare were like all of the respondents.
yeah,
and and now it's starting to like flesh out a little bit more. There's a little bit more delineation. So I feel like we are getting closer to what an actual image is. I am super curious about what 12% other is.
I am too. Is that where we're hiding the AE?
Who are these? Who are these others? What are they?
No.
And are they fun bids? Can we get in on that? Anyways, I'm not going to read through the entire report. We just don't have enough time in the session. Maybe if you're really interested, we'll have a second session about it. But I do want to highlight some things that we called out last year that had some interesting updates. So, where? Oh, sorry. One last one before I jump to what I want. I just like to point out these big circles. And this is an indication of like who is responding to RFPs by size of your company. And Kristen Williams, who from the amalgamation, calls us out all the time in that bidding is becoming more complex. And in the process of that, it really does mean that like smaller players are just getting edged out of the market. If you are a mid-sized firm, you are losing your ability to like get into it. Or you just don't have the internal resources to respond to bids. And maybe AI will help with that, but like ultimately I am worried that as an economy, we are running out of places to provide competitive analysis, right? So, anyways, all right. Where are we? I want to go to the AI section. Yeah, there we go. So, as we talked about last year, Rachelle, there were a bunch of fears about like, hey, AI is going to take my job. Am I going to lose my job? Am I? Is it over? Is it over? And well, I can't say necessarily that AI won't take your job. What I can say now is that the fear around AI taking your job has decreased. Um, is that more and more people are kind of adopting AI? They're feeling comfortable with AI, which is great. It's what we wanted to see, right? Like an AI is becoming more embedded into people's tools. People are feeling confident in its use. People are excited about its use. I have this great story of a bid writer in the UK who said that she thought that AI would never be a good writer, and now she's like, no, but I use it every day to make my job easier, and I can produce a lot more content, a lot more quickly, and a lot more efficiently. So, and I think in general, this kind of mirrors our own understanding of that, right?
Yeah, I think last year we didn't know what the possibilities were because we hadn't spent enough time with it, and so we were just listening to, like, all these headlines that were throwing what was gonna happen at us, and we were also unfortunately seeing a lot of, like, the tech industry layoffs, like, the
Yeah,
coders and, computer engineers and stuff, and so we thought we were gonna follow suit, but now that we've had a chance to enmesh these in our Nicole, I agree, it was me initially as well, I was like, "Oh, crap. What do I do now?" Um, all I know how to do is write and design and talk to engineers. Um, but now that we've, had a chance to figure out how this fits into our workflows, I think, yeah, Ben, you said it very, very well. It's just that comfort level
yeah.
has risen. That
It,
security level has risen as well.
Exactly, exactly. I think, and honestly, there were a number of layoffs. I think some companies did attempt to like move entirely to an AI environment, and some of them got smacked with it. We see a lot of rehiring and stuff like that. So, in general, I think the market is still in flux, but I think it isn't there. For our fun pie people, who is the first person who can tell me the error in this chart? First person to tell me. This is right up your alley as proposal specialists and bid writers. I'm giving you a hint there. Where is the error? Anyone? Anyone? Rachelle, I can't see the screen, so you tell me if someone found it.
There's nothing in the comments yet.
Oh no!
No, come on, y'all.
Come
You got
on, y'all.
this.
It is not in the first 5 bars. It's somewhere near the bottom. But it's possible that it's not an error. It felt like an error to me. So if no one has said it, is it
Wait,
identifying with themes? Shouldn't it
with
be?
views?
Shouldn't it
And
be? Should,
internal. Oh my, hold on. The comments running in. Carrie says internal, so there's a spelling error.
yeah,
Steven
right.
says competitive research should be above writing the first draft. Kathleen says it's Ravens purple instead of Bengals orange. That says 34% is there twice. So what I'm hearing, Nicole says with themes. What I'm hearing is that proposal manager should have edited this document.
Right. I looked at this and I just had such a delight, a moment of delight. And I was like, oh, I should bring this up and put it on the big screen and like just wait for someone to roll in the comment. But I called it out for you. So yeah, I saw the wind thieves. I saw the internal experts. It's clear there was a little bit of push to get this done quickly. So, anyways, we had a good point. I this
Perfect. I
one,
like to know that a human did this, so
yeah.
that makes me happy.
I can only assume that writing the first draft over competitive research is because we aren't seeing the 39.25 versus the 39.01 or something like that, right? Like it's the way the charting worked. But Rachelle, do you recognize most of these things? Have you tried all of these? I
I
haven't done
haven't
go
read
no
all
go.
of them for sure. Sorry, these spelling errors are still rolling in. Specific.
Oh, was there more? Oh, oh my god, it's horrible. It's
It's it's
I
rough.
didn't even see that one.
It's rough. So editing, number one was clearly not used.
But maybe
I definitely use it for editing. I'm super wary of using it for generating answers, or writing a first draft. Like I'll soundboard. I'm not. I don't really play with market research because I don't really need to. But yeah, but and it also depends on the tools. Like the tools that I have available to me and that I am using right now don't do a lot of these things, so I
yeah.
haven't played with them. But
Yeah, I've never done following up with internal experts internally, like with that. Like, no. So go no go decisions, I haven't done it with that either because I don't have a tool that does that. Though interestingly, like I'm reviewing tools right now and one out of Australia has a solid go no go process built into it. So yeah, there's definitely some things. I also like I do generate answers, but more around the idea of like, hey, I generally know what I want to say, but I want you to like collate like disparate pieces of content into like a more cohesive answer.
Right.
Um, right? Like I like when, especially when customers ask nested questions, where it's like they have one question about something, and then they have a second question that like they feel logically follows that first question, but they don't really. Like we store that information in two separate areas, kind of thing, right? I use AI to like bring those together and make a cohesive answer. So yeah. Anyways,
Yeah,
stuff,
that makes sense.
stuff. But all right, so going back from that though, people are using AI more efficiently, more commonly. But one of the things that we highlighted last year, and once again is reflected in this year, is that the higher or like the further away you are from the proposal process, the more likely you believe that proposal processes can replace staff.
Not
And
until AI can like physically go track down an SME and make them right. Like we will still be needed, darn it.
yeah, yeah. So I did, Rochelle, in the back channel, I mentioned to you that like you know me, I love cost per submission. I try to track it with my clients as much as possible. And I feel like it gives a general idea of like how much it costs us to run these bids. And you know, it's reflected in a cost per sale metric or a effort per submission metric in some other firms and stuff like that. There's also like people who say, oh, it has to be part of the total bid process. Like there's all sorts of like people who are doing a similar metric. I'm not the originator of it. I'm not the creator of it. Um, but anyway, so I track this, and for one of my customers, I'm tracking that their bids roughly cost, you know, between 12 and 15,000 to get out the door. And so this is a metric based on the soft costs of their staff, plus like any hard costs, like i.e. the cost of their tool amortized over the number of bids that they'll do every year, plus any other tools or something like that. Like I don't include like all the staff software load because that's a little bit ridiculous. But like if there were printing costs or something like that, or a specific like
Right.
I have to get an affidavit or something. Um, anyways, so roughly the customer is like 12 to 15,000, and they recently asked us with AI, what do you think that we could look at for like improvements to drive for, right? And I said, you know, like with a good AI tool, we could probably look at like a 20% reduction. And then they pulled out this perplexity study. And again, maybe something that we address in a future one, and it's based on the idea of like three different automation tools, RFE being one of them. And this idea that you could get the cost of bid should probably be around 4,000. And that you could maybe drive it down to $1,000 or less, like $900 kind of thing. And anyways, I looked at that and I'm like, there are questions that I have immediately. Like, what about the bid process are they considering? Like, are they just considering the document creation? In which case, maybe they could get it down to that price point. But like when you're getting to $900, like we are really talking about like, hey, if a salesperson is 65 to $100 an hour, does that mean that they're not doing a review, or are they building a win theme? Like are they doing strategy? Are they like just if you have a month-long bid, you're probably going to have like a cadence meeting, a review meeting, a kickoff meeting. That's 3 hours of meetings. If you pull in more than just you and the salesperson, that's your $900 right there, not including like the effort of time. So it's interesting for me, like to think about like that's where executives are thinking. Like, can I drive this down where I'm submitting $1,000 bids?
I worry about them getting bad data.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that sounds well and beautiful to try and, you know, get a bid under $1,000. But I just it doesn't seem feasible, and I feel like a lot of people don't have a good handle on that data themselves of, like, what
Yeah,
it costs them right now, and so they see something like that and they just jump at it as like, "Oh, yeah, this is what it should be." So that is deeply, deeply concerning to me.
yeah.
But I think
So
it just goes like normal industry disconnects, right? Like, the higher up you get, the less you understand about how things are changing and moving in procurement and proposals, and that's a constant source of pain in all aspects of our work.
yeah, so I would suggest if you are in the proposal industry and you haven't established like a really good KPI metric system, make that your goal this year because other companies are telling senior leadership what they should be expecting. You need to be able to present to them like real, honest data, and then work with them on like what are true and honest goals. Because there could be a very big disconnect for you. I don't necessarily think that AI is going to replace you, but I could see a company experimenting with AI replacing you. So yeah, get on it. Get on it. All right. What was
Oh,
the
this is a great answer, hold on.
yeah?
From Chris. "You can bring it down to $900 a bid if you don't care about the win rate."
Yes. Oh, and that's the Chris, I love you because of course that is the exact thing that I want to talk about next. And that is selectivity in bids. So Loopio was tracking people with a strong go no go process. And what they have found is that in general, there is a 7% bump if you have a rigorous go no go process, or sorry, a 9% bump if you have a go no go process. Where is that? It is not here. It is selectivity was the one. Boop. Yeah. Anyways, so if you have a go no go process, like as you increase your go no go process, um, what they've discovered is that there is a solid correlation between having a good go no go process and winning more. So once again, there is this like as much as your senior execs want to make this a numbers game, there is value. And I don't honestly think that it's value that's being provided by the proposal itself. I think it's value that's being provided by the upstream team and the downstream team. In that, like, if they have fewer things to work on, they can really think about how to connect with the client, and they can really think like that's anecdotal. That is my guess. Um, sorry. So there it is, the key insight that I'm referencing. But like, I'm willing to hear your comments on it, Rachelle. Like, my thinking is, sure, I produce a marginally better bid if I have more time. I can ask marketing for better graphics. I can weave in better win themes and stuff like that. Maybe I can be a little bit more disruptive in like putting a memory worm in their head so that when the demo team comes in, they have a happy feeling. But I think honestly, like the majority of value in being selective is really just in helping the upstream and downstream people spend more time getting to know the client. But I'd be curious about your insights on that.
No, I would agree with that. Again, I really feel like AEC is not represented here because I don't think the go no goes have improved in any way. I think we've gotten our industry has gotten a little bit more desperate, and I am seeing an increase in the number of non-qualified RFPs that are being pushed through the go process.
Ooh.
Meaning, we know absolutely nothing about the client or the project. I have no insights. My teams have no insights. Nobody knows anything about this. It's just like work we can do, work we know. Uh, and we're going after that. And my
Mhm.
question is always why? And we're falling back on something that has been a plague in the AEC industry for as long as I've been in it, and it's, well, we can do the work,
Yeah.
so therefore we're qualified to do it. Um, so for us, that go no go increase would literally just shuffle off all of the unqualified bids, which would naturally boost our win rate because we have no business going after so many of the things that we do. Kathleen, my AEC buddy in the comments here is echoing that so many unqualified bids.
Hmm.
It's an industry plague for us right now.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of, like, actually improving, it's just a statistics game. We need to not be going after bad, unqualified staff.
100%, 100%. Judy Brandt echoed it 2 weeks ago as well with her comment that like if you were above 50% win rate, more than likely it's because you were saying no to the right things. So um, yeah, strongly recommend going back and watching her session on it. She is very much like, hey, you've got to do so much influencing, and that's the only way to ensure a win. Um, is getting deeply enmeshed in what your customer really needs so that you understand them and you can represent them both in your submission document and in the solution you craft for them. So yeah, all right. And that brings us to our favorite topic around bid managers, and that is burnout. So
Surprise, surprise. We're
one,
still stressed.
we're still experiencing issue. So what we are discovering, and like the document itself doesn't make a clear line behind why burnout is happening. It could be the increase in RFPs. It could be that like further earlier up in the document, it does indicate that most of the teams had resource reductions that they were able to report this year. So more than 50% of the teams indicated that the size of their proposal teams went down. For solo shops, obviously this is not an issue. For non-solo shops, though, this is, hey, you are being asked to do more with less, like the very classic capitalist mentality. But once again, we're also people pleasers, and I want to highlight Stephen Alvarez's temp check, which is on our YouTube. Chris, yes, we have a YouTube. I'm sorry that I didn't tell you about it. We don't advertise it well, uh, but Stephen Alvarez talks about the ability to say no and being a people pleaser in one of the sessions that he did with us, and it echoes here in that like, yeah, you just want to help the company and you like put yourself out there, kind of beyond what you should. But why am I talking about this, Rachelle? I have an in-house expert on burnout in this call with me.
Maybe because I'm so tired of seeing this show up every single year. It's not changing. We're not moving the needle. And I agree with Nicole. It's because we need that executive presence. Christina Carter also did a great session on how to get that, like how to get your voice to the table so we can advocate for ourselves and advocate for better processes and more resources. I find it a little frustrating that we have on this page, we're satisfied with our RFP processes,
Yeah,
but we're
64%,
stressed
baby.
as hell. Have we just like accepted that proposals are stressful and like maybe they're slightly less stressful than they were because their process improved, but like life still sucks? I don't understand how these can be on the same page. Uh yeah.
Yeah, no, agreed. And honestly, I do see a little bit of like Loopio gamemanship here. Like, I am very curious about this correlation. RP software users report higher process satisfaction and lower stress levels. I am curious about that. Now, admittedly, I don't have Loopio at any of my customers currently, um, but I do have RFP tools at a number of them, and definitely, I I guess sometimes I make the comment, well, it is better than Excel. Like, and sometimes that's the best thing I can say. But specifically, like I have one tool that no, I'll call it out, Ombud. Uh,
We
and
gotta be
like
fair.
every time I get a complex response form or a response template from a customer, I have a little bit of hives because Ombud is not intuitive for ingestion of bids. And it has a lot of functionality, but it's like hidden or it doesn't act exactly the way you want it to. Anyway, so I definitely feel like upset, but I get it. You know what? Like even if it's a marginal amount, maybe
My stress just comes from not having the time to invest in that
yeah.
software. Like, I can see the value that it would have, but that is additional, like, time resources for me or staffing resources to get that software, that database, whatever it is, like, configured up and running. Yeah, if it's not intuitive, like, tweaking it to work for you. And I just don't have the time or the patience or the space to do that.
Mhm.
And thinking about it stresses me out even more because I feel this guilt over having not done it. But at the same time, like, there's this constant maintenance that has to happen with software. So I just
Yeah, so honestly, I've been reviewing new AI tools, and I think we are very close, Rochelle, to the point where we can go with a contentless, like a library-less software tool. We are getting so close. And I can't cover something because it's by NDA, but like someone brought up something very interesting in the last 48 hours that I thought was genius about like recycling customer content directly into your tool for response for future customers, like in a really low impact fashion, that I was very excited about. So anyways, lots of like honestly we are so I feel like AI is actually much closer than we think. There's still a question of like hallucinations and lying and security and stuff like that, but like we are getting to a point where I think like the legacy tools, the Lupios and the responsives and the ombuds and the Qvidians of the world really have to like watch out, because some of these new tools are doing some really interesting things in this space. So yeah,
again,
stuff.
I'm hoping that I've just put off my content library long enough that I can just jump to straight no content library. That would be great.
Yeah,
Hooray for procrastination, score.
no, fair. And in general, what we are seeing is there was a drop from 30 hours for RFP preparation down to 25. I honestly attribute that more to like AI necessarily than like improved processes. But who knows? I'll read more into the data. But I think from the key insights that we've highlighted just in this call today, and we'll let you go because we're over time already. Um, I think the secret to us, to all proposal managers in 2025 is, try to bid on less. Start getting some metrics and using your AI tools properly, and then go outside and touch grass because that's the only way that you're going to get through this year. So be safe out there is the long and short from that level of Loopio trend analysis reporting. Rochelle, any comments before we let them all go?
I think I'm gonna go outside and touch grass.
Do
So
it.
no, we're all good here. Stay
Yeah.
safe, friends. Stay sane. We got you.
Yeah, stay sane, and we'll have a link to this report in the podcast notes. Obviously, we can't give you the report itself because that's unfair to Lupio. But hope you all are going into the next weekend with all your bids secure and everything fun, and hopefully you get some time for yourself. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us today. We appreciate you. Take care, everyone.